Alright, and we're back to the 04 Subaru Impreza again. Loctite wouldn't work, cutting threads didn't work. So what I'm doing now is I've taken this, roughed it up, cleaned out the inside again, make sure there's no Loctite or anything in there, and got some high temp JB Weld. I am going to use JB Weld on this, kind of like I did the thread lock, a little neater and with a little extra on the end, and hope that this will weld this to the engine block so I can actually get the head tightened down.
Desperate times calls for desperate measures.
And I've taken a file, like I said, I took a file to the smooth sections. It really shouldn't have any up here because at that point, that's getting closer to where the head's actually going to be, so there shouldn't be anything there, but I put it there just in case.
Yep. So he's going to mix a JB Weld. Y'all seen that before, right?
Yep. This was a nice one. You don't even have to do the combo. It's got the little thing. You open the tab, you mix it, gives you a stick.
Nice.
So,
what do y'all think's going to happen? I'm hoping that this gets finally in there. Of course, if you're looking on Facebook and you see a whole bunch of Subaru parts for sale, you know this didn't get in there all that well.
There's a link in the bottom of this for Subaru parts, and you know what happened.
Yes.
This was in my house so that the it's not frozen.
Well, it's like 50 some odd degrees out here.
Yeah, but it was in the mid-20s this morning.
Yeah. Got to remember the Midwest weather is a bipolar, we're going to say. Weather is moody, we'll say. Midwestern weather is moody.
Constantly. If you're not happy with what it's doing, just wait a little bit.
Yep.
Then you either be less happy or happy. Let's make sure I get these back in the right spot so I can get this lid off again. But this is a nice little one for coming back, but I don't need a whole lot on this. That makes it good. And this is the second time I've used the JB Weld. Not a sponsor.
Yep.
But at this point, it and Flex Seal, all these glue and tape companies should sponsor me. 3M.
Would be nice, but I ain't holding my breath. Whoop.
No. They're not sponsors. Loctite.
We use quite a bit of Loctite.
I want to put a big dab on the end, so hopefully that'll reach down. And then just smooth it on, because I don't want it's going to be fun trying to feed this in.
Yeah.
Without getting it all over everything.
This is one of those, just watch us to see if this actually works.
Yeah, this is a Hail Mary thing. If you have another way to fix it, do it.
Yeah.
This one is at the point where it'd have to go to machine shop. It's not worth taking to a machine shop. So it's actually cheaper for me to buy another engine than it is to take this to a machine shop around here.
While he's doing that, we'll go through the list of what exactly we've done to this so far. If you're just clicking on just this video, because this is literally like round 10 with this. We've tried putting a new bolt in there, and bolt gave way at 35 pounds of pressure. I think it was
about 10.
Yeah, we cut new threads in like you're supposed to. New threads wouldn't take. We tried a wire trick just to see what would happen. That didn't work at all. We tried putting the insert inside it, and that was not recorded and a whole lot of not fun.
It's not recorded because I couldn't get it in there.
Yeah.
Well, the one I could get in there didn't grab anything, and the ones I couldn't get in there wouldn't have grabbed anything either, because I used my camera there and looked in there and there was no threads.
Yes.
Just roughed up. And when I went to clean it up, I started to feed. When I did the rethread, couldn't get to feed, went to clean up the threads, because I thought that would be why. When I put the threader back in, the threader didn't catch anything.
We've also tried, the last video is when we tried the Red Loctite, and Loctite didn't lock so tight. So now we're doing this. Apparently the Loctite only locks tight under pressure. That's what we learned yesterday, or day before yesterday, I think it was. I don't know. It'll be last week for y'all. So
using that, see what I'm doing, because a little bit of overflow, trying to clear that down there, which is fun because your fingers are in the way when you get down there where you can clear it.
I just wanted to show y'all what he's going through on this. So, set up in 2 days?
Yep, should set up 2 days. Actually, it should be set up in a day, but I'm going to give it 2 days just to be on the safe side. I got other stuff to do anyway, so probably Sunday before I get out here to try it. And it's Friday today. And all I'm doing right now is just make sure I get everything cleaned off so that you still have a good, clean, smooth surface and there's no JB Weld in the head.
Yep. And like he said, we would take it to the machine shop if it made sense, but you can buy an engine cheaper than it would for a machine shop to do the work we needed on this.
Yeah,
so.
And it's just the machine shops. The machine shops up here, the ones that aren't outrageous, say they won't. I get told they don't do that work. And the ones that will do the work, it's so expensive it's not worth having it done. It's cheaper just to buy a Jasper engine and stick it in.
Yep.
So.
And that's how strong it's going to hold. So well over the 85 pound-feet that we need.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, see y'all in 2 days.
See ya.
Have a holly jolly Christmas with your old friend Subaru.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm letting the JB Weld harden up, which I have hope for it. There's still enough threads that it did tighten up all the way. Then it proceeded just not to tighten after it was in all the way.
That was with the red thread Loctite.
And it was with the JB Weld. The JB Weld was wet, though. So while it was wet, I got it set. Now I'm letting it cure, and I'm cleaning stuff up and playing the what bolt holds this on game. Because this was all organized when I started working on this late spring. Now I don't remember what was what, and looking back at the old videos, I didn't really do a good job of reminding me where the bolt was for what thing. So there's a lot of what are we doing. I decided to go ahead and start on this. I've got this was the fuel rail guard. Got it back on. There's these bolts, which so far they're all the same length. One there, one back here. There's going to be two down here. And these bolts onto this. So I'll get it lined up. But these go in here. There's two bolt holes there, and I'm trying to remember what the heck bolted that. I've got this one that goes down here, but I don't remember what bolts bolted it down there, so I've got to find those bolts. So there's a whole lot of what bolt is for what.
Yep.
So I'm proceeding to play that while I'm waiting for this to set up. Finally figured it out, ended up with an extra bolt, found it. There's, for this fuel rail plate, there's two bolts here. There's two down here. You have two for the fuel rail, which I took off for who knows what reason. I guess I thought I needed to remove the fuel rail. And then you've got one here, and then these two here. And something I forgot to do and just noticed is this runs behind this. So now I've got to take this off again. But, yeah, the plugs are supposed to run behind the fuel rail, which I didn't do over here, but yeah, technically they're supposed to, on this side they're supposed to run under the, that's actually the power steering return. So they run under there and then down. So yeah, I gotta pull that off again. But otherwise it's going back together. Found where the extra bolt is, slowly getting through the bolts. Then I've got to figure out which ones are for which. But getting there. So after getting this back on and all this back together and only taking off and put back on 3 times, I got the bolts narrowed down that I think it's going to be these two. How I figured these two, these are designed to have washers. This one's rusty from coolant leaking. That had bad coolant leaking. This one's oily from oil. This was all covered in oil from the oil filter, so I believe those are going to be the right spots. Put this back on because it's got to go on before I put the pulley back on. And oily one down there. And rusty one over here. And these, I am going to just say good and tight because all they're doing is holding plastic on. That's what I'm kind of doing with all these shieldings is going to be good and tight, but not so tight you break the plastic. Remember, there's a metal... These actually have metal rings in them, which is nice. Where's my 10 mil? This was a 10 mil. That should be on there. So you're less likely to do it, but... And what's fun with this one is that is a mount point for that big plate. So, putting the new pulley in, now that I got that plastic backer plate back on. And these are going to be 29 foot-pounds. I'm going to start it with this though, and it's a 17, no, that's not the right one. That's 17 millimeters for that. You were the 14 here, weren't you? Yes, 14. They're 14 millimeter. And set this to 29, which is an odd number. I don't know why I did 29. 29. And there's 29. Okay, that's that. Having fun trying to get everything to line up here because these belt moves and lines up with the lines. And it goes off. Yep, of course it did. Now I gotta get that one back to where it goes.
Yep.
And there's that.
These timing belts have handy dandy white lines that line up with markings. So you can line up with arrows and markings to do that with.
Let's see, there we go. Pull it towards you just a little bit more. And the tensioner's not been tensioned yet. It just doesn't have a whole lot of slack to give.
Yeah.
Yeah, pull that way a little bit more.
That?
More?
Yep, more if you can.
That
That's
pull ring.
as far as it'll go.
Okay.
That pull ring there on the tensioner is the, think of that
Right.
as the grenade ring. As soon as you pull that, it's sprung. You got tension. So hopefully you didn't do what I would have done and just pulled it
Nope.
automatically.
It's still,
Like, ooh,
it's still not
this do?
activated. Ow! Son of a...
Don't hurt yourself.
Move that.
It gets loud.
Ratchet that once. Here, ratchet that back towards me so you can get off of that line. Do it a little bit more. There we go. Now, dang it.
What happened?
It jumped the spring and went all the way around, so now we got to go back the other way.
Alrighty.
Now push it
So
towards me. This is a fun operation.
this is the struggle.
Yeah, I tried to do it with the pulleys not set on it yet, and then I can't get the pulleys on.
Wait a minute.
And then it goes that way.
What have I done?
A little bit more. Right there.
I don't want to squish your finger. There's got to be something we're missing. Who cares if you get it done the wrong way if it gets done? And you're trying to get that bottom one on?
Trying to get it over to the water pump and on there too.
Almost.
And this thing's got teeth, so you can't just slide it on it, and it won't hold on to it. I hate that I'm getting a little chewed up on the ends of those. Let's just pull you this way.
This has come off.
Yep, of course it has. And see, this thing, that tensioner, it seems like that tensioner should move more, and it doesn't move very much at all.
You can't take it off and then put this all on and squish the belt down
I'm
with
going
that?
to try to again, but the last time I did that, I might be able to with you holding the stuff. But I got the belt on wrong was the problem. Did you get it on there? And then see that it lines up wrong there, and that's off again now. So that needs to go that way. This needs to go this way. This needs to go that way again.
So y'all see the struggle here we're dealing with.
What are we doing?
All right, I got time belt back on. I had to get
Mark
help.
lines up.
Mark lines up, Mark lines up, Mark lines up. Then I bolted this in while Kit helped hold this in place.
That one's just a little slight bit dubious, but whatever.
It's as close as it'll go because the line's actually over a tooth, and the tooth is there, and the line's here. Now, all the others line up properly. This one's a little weird, so I don't know. But
Somebody really hated this engine.
now I'm going to see if everything moved properly.
And so do we.
And I haven't taken the tension off the tensioner, so
Yeah.
the spring's still not on. So this should be able to.
Just making sure we don't feel valve hitting piston.
No crashy, McCrashy. The spark plugs are out. So I think it's all good, other than the lines aren't going to line up anymore, but they all should go and be pretty much straight up again when they're straight up. So, and they are all pretty well lining up.
What is this mark?
That's the mark we were going off of. That's your belt mark where the mark was. That's the mark where the mark was. And this is the mark that mark was. And they're all pretty close to straight up together. So I think we're good.
Okay, never mind.
So I think we're good on that. I'm not going to pull this spring yet. Just going to have to pull it off. These are all 29 foot-pounds. I'm going to double check, make sure they're 29. And then go back to working on this stuff. I've got this still curing, so that won't be till tomorrow. But hopefully if that's cured, I can put all that back together and put oil in this and make it run.
Our test bed. Where's our test bed for the JV Weld fix?
Oh, yeah. It is still...
I gave it to you. You set it down somewhere up here.
I did set it down somewhere. It's not where it was.
Great.
Okay, and I've got this. This is a broken ratchet. I used some of the same JB Weld what was left to weld this up. And it's not going to be as near as good a contact as that. But it's still a little tacky. It's not been long enough. Plus it's cold and this is high temp. So it's probably going to take a little longer to set up fully. But yeah, I'll go try this and see what it does before I try that. Alright. Well, it looks like it is going to be another week before we get this. Run out of time, run out of season, and I'm not entirely sure that's completely cured because of how cold it's been. Of course, it got cold just as soon as I was trying to get something to cure. So we'll come back to this, and hopefully in a week we'll be finishing the assembly and getting this back together. So until next time, like, share, and subscribe, and hope to see you next time. So long.